Welcome to the second episode of the Crackstreet Boys Podcast with our almost our whole team here, except for Nick Thompson and Nick Kang and Dave again. But let's just go around and see who's at the table here. Maybe starting with Dane.
Hey, I'm Dane.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Derek.
Lou.
I'm Richard.
I'm Isaac.
Nick Chow.
Andrew.
Okay, and we might have to speak up a little bit because I can see the vocal things.
We didn't actually introduce it.
Man, this is a good
No,
introduction.
but he'll edit it. It's fine.
Yeah,
but we'll put it in post. Like he's gonna he's gonna edit this though. Like, there's no way.
Yo, they didn't
no way
even
you're
know
gonna
that was him.
Yeah, no, who was that?
Yeah, that's just a really bad shit.
Okay, so for our first topic, we're coming towards the end of Mod 3, or our third semester, and I guess we'll start off with what our thoughts were of the first two mods and how we felt. And maybe...
I thought we wanted to start with congratulating the future class of
Oh yeah.
2022.
So the class of 2022, or potential class, just finished their interviews. Hopefully you guys got in. If not, we'll see you in the class of 2023.
I was told by someone I know who was in the interview process that there was more than average applicants, so it sounds like it's going to be a good pool of students.
Cool. Yup.
Nice. Yeah.
Not as good as us.
That's sort of exciting though. Like more people are starting to apply now.
Yeah.
It kind of just speaks for the profession, and like, more people are kind of noticing it.
Yeah.
And more people to take lunch money from.
Tax these kids. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's great that they're done. I know it was pretty awkward for us when we did it. You guys talked about it a lot, like last podcast, about your experience during it. Just your experience about it last podcast. So I think maybe we can less.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think maybe we can talk about our experiences now that we've made it through all that, and that we're in our first and second mod, or halfway through our first year essentially, how we found it after. Yeah. Do you want to open up the floor to Isaac maybe?
So first of all, side thing. You don't have to. I don't think we have to yell, but I don't know.
How is it right now? It's fine.
So if I'm talking at this voice, this is like the perfect point.
Okay.
Oh, your voice is perfect, eh?
Yeah.
How's this? How's this?
That's pretty
How's
good.
this?
That's a bit loud.
How's this?
You're hurting their
That's
ears,
okay.
Richard.
It's good?
Okay. For
Should
me,
we maybe start like for what's it called? Like 101 week? What do we call it?
orientation.
Orientation week.
Man, orientation week was kind
a
of
week, half a week.
screw orientation week.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we should go over it because I think everyone when you come in, like everyone's like, it's gonna be the best part of your life. Like it's the best part of your 4 years ever. Like I don't
Okay.
think that. Like,
Yeah.
I think you can.
I want to say something, but I can't say something because it's the podcast.
Derek Lou skipped a week.
Yeah.
I trained, man.
So you weren't here.
Train.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I skipped like I went to the formative sessions, like in lecture
Yeah.
stuff, but not the active.
So he got
okay.
the pink band.
I did the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
thing, eh?
So
Yeah.
when you
Dang,
sign
you
up, and
guys.
they're gonna send you info, and they're gonna give you the option to either spend $200 more for the events and such, or you can just do the basic part. So a lot of people were kind of grilling people in the beginning, being like, "Oh, you didn't get the social package? Like, what? Like, you're like, oh my god, your life's over." But like, it doesn't really make a big difference. Like, I felt like during O week you made friends and you talked to people and you had fun, but it doesn't define who you are at CMCC. You still make friends after.
Literally, I feel the only person I'm like I consider everyone my colleague, but the only person who's like still who I talk to like in O week, that I still like consistently talk to now is like basically like Nick Thompson, Nick Chow, because you're like split up into like pods or like groups like arbitrarily. It's like random.
Yeah, like about groups of 10.
And then they kind of like dictate like your social circle for a bit, and then you either like click with the people and you stay friends with them, or like you're whatever. They're just part of your group and you kind of branch out.
I don't know. It's good to give you like a starting point. It gives you a solid group of 10 people that you recognize in the hall, and you can feel comfortable adding on Facebook and messaging them about assignments and stuff, and it sort of starts from there and branches out.
I think like the way it's set up, like even if you don't do the social programs at the beginning, you're still set up to interact with like your peers. Kind of like in like first year undergrad like welcome week. It's at least for me. I didn't do the social package, but I found that like I got enough interaction with other people during the regular events. And I know like a few people wanted to do the social events because they were from out of town and they just wanted like to get put themselves out there. So I mean, if you
sorry, Andrew, you cut off, so you just finish your last point again.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying that like if you want to do the social package, right? I've heard that like it's a lot of fun. I personally didn't do it, and I don't. To be honest, if I didn't do it, I don't think I feel like I would have done it anyways if given the chance again. So yeah,
I feel like you get out of it what you want to get out of it. Like I'm sure there are some people in our year that would say that it was a really important week for them and getting the social package was like essential because they're just those type of people that are really personable and really want to establish like a solid group of friends right at the beginning and enjoy that atmosphere. I did the social package and I really enjoyed it, but could I have gone without it? I could have. I wouldn't say it was like necessarily essential. Yeah.
It just kind of felt like a summer camp style, almost.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, it just butters you up for day one anatomy the next week. Does anyone else have any input? Ryan,
did you?
Did
you do social?
I didn't do.
Ryan didn't do the social package.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't do the social package. Dane and Richard both happened to be in my pod, my group of 10 people. So I didn't really branch out that far from them. But I found that not doing the social package was just something that I would normally do. You know, I don't branch out and do all that kind of stuff.
And now he's corrupted.
I'm not that bad. No. At least, you know.
Everyone has their own preferences. You know, some people would rather be a lover than a fighter. You know, so I've been fighting my whole life, but it's just me.
Is that all you remember? You don't remember. No. You can't even quote it. Can't even open up Google lyrics. Okay. Yeah. So I guess mod 1, mod 2. What do you guys? Like your thoughts on it? Let's start with Derek.
So I guess for those who don't know, the year is broken into 4 modules, like 4 semesters rather than the normal 2 semesters. So because of that, our school schedule is different. We have 4 sets of exam periods instead of 2.
It's also longer overall.
Yeah, the school year is longer. We started August 21st, so it was like mid.
Well, that was a week, right?
No,
not everybody else starts August 20th.
Oh,
I checked second years, and they also started at the same time.
Huh.
Yeah, people are missing labs.
I see.
And then we go until the end of May. So it's a longer year. There's 4 semesters. They call them modules here. So
and every day the schedule changes. It's not like it's
every
like
day to day and week to week it's different.
Yeah.
So you get the schedule beforehand. So
yeah. So when we talk about mod 1 and 2, that's half of the year. That's the first half of the year that we finished right after our Christmas break. So
yeah.
Mod 1, who wants to start?
Yeah. Derek, do you want to no thoughts on mod 1?
Oh, I want to talk about mod 2. Mod 2 like crushed my soul.
Okay, so we'll skip right to mod 2. What did you think of mod 2?
Mod 2 just like gripped my soul, put it in a blender, and crushed it up, and then I drank it.
Was it harder than undergrad, or was it worse or better than undergrad? You feel?
Well, it was definitely more stressful than undergrad. I never had that many like exams in one time, and like studying during like the winter break was
pretty rough.
Very like.
How many exams did we have, Derek?
I believe we had 8 in total.
Oh.
With 1 before the break and 7 after the break.
Yeah.
This was mod 2. I would say even for me personally, mod 1 was even harder than undergrad for me.
Okay, yeah.
Harder than my undergrad is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the course content is just
extensive.
It goes really fast.
It's crazy, yeah. Like I would say in one mod we probably went through an entire university's course worth of material for each class that we did, and it takes some time to get used to getting yourself into the study habits and starting to understand like what type of a schedule you need to be following in order to keep up with everything. Mod 1 I fell behind, and that exam period was super stressful for me because of that. So yeah, it's kind of a slap in the face.
So I guess Ryan, you commute an hour one way each day, so you lose 2 hours commuting. So how did you find mod 1 and balancing studying with all that commuting time?
So with that commute, what I did, or what I should have done, really, is,
What you tried to do.
yeah, they have a new technology out called Panopto, and what
We're in
that
the
is,
21st century now.
and basically most of the professors will record their lectures, and so you can listen to that through anything, really. So I would hook it up to my phone and play it through the vehicle. That's probably the easiest way if you're commuting, especially a long distance, like an hour one way like I am, to...
I actually didn't know you could put it on your phone.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can download it.
Yeah, I use it through my phone.
How do you download it?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
There's an app.
Yeah, there's an app for it. The app isn't the greatest, so I normally just use it through Cairo.
Really?
Like you
Yeah.
just go
Yeah.
on a webpage on your phone. And
Yo, you
Yeah,
guys didn't know this?
I know. I
Yeah.
could have sworn I talked to someone who said it doesn't work on your phone.
It doesn't work on your
Does it?
iPad.
Oh,
Dude,
your
that's
iPad.
freaking technology, man.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
sense.
But I'd say
Elon
in
Musk.
the first 2 mods, I did that about 3 times.
And those times were great, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
the day before the first mod histo exam, or on the way in for it, I listened to his review lecture like 3 times on the way in.
Nice.
I would have fallen asleep. I cannot do online lectures. So I prefer to go to class.
You
instead.
drive, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, like my experience commuting, like an hour and a half to there and back, so like 3 hours. I took the TTC. So for anyone who commutes a long time taking the TTC, basically what I did from like Finch Station to Yonge and Bloor, I could always get a seat. So like I kind of tried to review my notes then, and then from Yonge and Bloor to like where I lived,
What's your address, Derek?
like pretty west, like that's West Station. I basically just like didn't look at my notes and I chilled because like from Finch to like Bloor and Yonge was about like 30 minutes, so I just did 30 minutes of reviewing. And then from like Yonge and Bloor to like back to my house, I like just chilled and stood there because usually I can't get a seat at Yonge and Bloor anyways. So yeah.
We have
I hate
We gotta
Yo! Dave Tam, another cameo.
Dave Tam.
Last episode, Dave came in, and I believe he's of Chinese descent.
I believe so too.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, didn't you introduce him, but then he didn't actually talk?
No,
he
Dave.
did.
He did.
Like
He did
gave
talk.
us 2 cents and then walked right out.
Literally gave
No,
2
he
cents.
actually, he gave us 2 cents. But
Literally gave 2 cents.
Okay.
we were just
Missed
talking
that,
about our
2 cents.
experience in mod 1 and 2.
So I'm taking up a lot of space.
For some reason, we skipped mod 1 and then we
you
mod
might-
2 and mod 2
I
first.
swear.
So did anyone feel that mod 1 or mod 2 is easier or harder in particular than their undergrad?
Both of them are harder for me.
I found that mod 1 was easier for me just because so much of the content that I learned in my undergrad came into that. And
Ryan comes from Princeton University.
So,
Yeah,
And Harvard.
that's true. I came from a social sciences background, so I didn't do.
What?
Wait,
Yeah,
you did?
I did my undergrad in human kinetics, but at Ottawa U they have 2 streams. It's like
Oh.
the sciences stream and the social sciences stream. So you still do all like the anatomy and the physiology, but you don't do the hard, like you don't do like the chemistry, the biology,
Okay, yeah.
stuff like that. And honestly, like the anatomy that I did at Ottawa U didn't prepare me at all. Like I mean, it did. You know, you learn like basically I only had first year anatomy in my undergrad, and it was essentially just all the muscles. And so, as you'll know, when you start first year, you get into all the blood vessels and nerves and all that stuff, and that's just a whole nother ballpark. So
And the inguinal canal.
yeah.
To be honest, like I didn't have much anatomy background coming in, even though I did my undergrad in kin. And just like we covered basically all my anatomy background in within mod 1. So it depends on your background. I know like some schools like UIT prepare you well for the program here because it's a joint program, whereas other schools, and also depending on your background, you may or may not get exposure to some of the material beforehand. So just be prepared for that.
So you were comfortable with the first mod material, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. Like especially with anatomy, the only things that we didn't go over so much in my program when I was at Guelph Humber, it was mainly the arterial supply. That was the one thing that I found more of a struggle than anything because we went over muscles and nerves and all that stuff. It was pretty easy for me to pick up on all that, and still is right now. So I'm hoping that carries into mod 4 with head and neck.
Nice. Yeah.
I think for like Isaac can speak to it as well. Like Isaac and I went to U of T. I honestly think this is a lot easier than U of T, just because it's a different kind of stress in undergrad.
Yeah, 100% different kind of stress.
You're stressing about like GPA, like I'm not going to get anywhere in life if I don't have a high GPA. Here it's just like, it sounds awful, but it's just like they have this thing like 6.0 and go. So as long as you get 60, you pass, right? So it's more just a volume kind of grind. So you have to cover everything.
Yeah, I think the volume. I don't know. Like for me at U of T, I thought the type of stress is not comparable. Like there, it's like you fall asleep like wondering like what's the point, and here you fall asleep just thinking like, damn, I don't want to really get up at 8 a.m. or at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m.
What about like material wise though? I was sort of talking about it more from like
actual content wise. Like the problem is, I feel like there's definitely more volume here.
Yeah.
But like things are less bullshit. Like they'll actually test you on like what you learn. But I remember at like U of T, I still remember my final exam for my pregnancy course. It was 5 questions worth 60% of your mark.
Wow.
Or 65% of your entire mark. Long answer. And I just remember not being able to answer one of the questions. And then, you're looking around and everyone's like in 4th year. And then you can kind of see the light leaves from everyone's eyes. But here it's like, it's stressful, but like...
It has meaning.
Like,
there's meaning to it.
Yeah, like you're kind of in the final stretch. Like you're actually working towards something finally. So like, you kind of get past that stress. Sometimes, and the community is pretty tight here too. So like, everyone's pretty helpful. It's like in undergrad, it's easy to be anonymous, especially if you're at a bigger university. Like, there's just pros and cons. Like here, like you can't really like. There's not if you're gone for a day, everyone will probably notice, at least in your like friend group. And then if you're gone for like a couple of days, like it's definitely noticeable. And if you're gone for 3 days, we assume you dropped out.
There's definitely that lack of like. There's no GPA stress. And
No.
Yeah,
stuff
like
that's
GPA is important for like I mean obviously for like self pride and like also if you want to do like later a residency here, and I guess there's a couple of like year to year scholarships, but overall it's it's okay.
What'd you think, Nick?
Think about what?
The the course content
Course content?
here versus your undergrad.
Yeah, it is a lot more volume, but I felt that I was pretty prepared for like the anatomy stuff. Yeah, I don't have much to say about that.
Dave Tamp's so beautiful.
Hello, guys.
What about you, Dave Tam?
So I come from a background from the University of Waterloo. I did human kinetics. So
I love Stuart McGill.
I love Stuart McGill as well. So it was really nice in a sense that a lot of the biomechanics courses were overlapped in terms of whatever they taught here. A lot of it was overlapped, and I took a lot of the material beforehand. But in terms of like how prepared I was for school and everything, it's been a while since I've done anatomy because I took it in my first year, and that was pretty much where all our hard sciences, our biology, chemistry, all of our anatomies and hard sciences were done. Were primarily built and front-loaded into first year and at the beginning of second year. So as I got near the end, it kind of was less science heavy, and it was just more like you have to choose whatever courses you want to do. So for me, it was just more like restarting and going through all the hard courses again, in a sense. But in a sense, I felt like University of Waterloo did prepare me pretty well in terms of like the biomechanics aspect of it, and the anatomy and all that was just more in depth, much more in depth here, much more volume, and just had to do a lot more.
Ouch.
Isaac's getting a little touchy-feely with Richard. Richard's biceps are a sight to see if you haven't seen them.
You'll see them in 2022.
That's reason enough.
2019.
Make it.
Yeah, no, everyone's touching his biceps. I think we're gonna take a quick break, mostly to check the sound again.
You
gotta take a break.
You gotta tell them because you can't just cut off and just be like, "Oh, hey again."
Hey again.
Just fix the. No, we talked about.
We kind of.
Okay, we're back.
We talked about
We
our
kind of went on a
undergrads and
tangent.
we could go into mod 2 and how it got harder. And
I don't know.
more exams,
I guess.
and
What was everyone's like hardest subject that they thought?
yeah, sure. And
Histology.
Then, we can talk about Christmas break, and then you're not recording right now.
No, I'm recording right now.
You are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
damn,
most
I was-
worried about radiology.
Man.
Yeah.
I think it was easier than I thought.
Yeah, but I think histology and radiology were ones.
Yeah.
I was worried about histo and anatomy because those are the courses that finish, so I needed to pass those.
I was most worried about
That was
anatomy.
different though, like for me for anatomy.
Because legitimately, I like at the start of the year and back in August, September, I couldn't tell you what anything was. Like you could tell me like which part of the arm is like the radius, and I couldn't tell you.
Wow.
Like that's how like out of like anatomy I was.
Oh, you made it.
But even now you're like, which one? Which one?
Because the arm was like, whatever. Shut up. He's still confused. The rest was Richard's a troll.
What was the toughest? Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
What did you find? What did you
I'd say histology because like I didn't want to fail and like I didn't do so well in mod 1. I did okay, but like I had a chance of failing if I didn't do so well. But histology and like honestly biochem, just because like I never took any biochem and like I dropped the grade 12 biochemistry in like grade 12. Yeah.
I think people struggle with histology the most when you come here because it's the most foreign to you. Everyone, or most people coming from a kinesiology background. So I think that's the only thing that a lot of people are worried about. But honestly, as long as, key thing, whoever the professor is, just don't piss them off. Just honestly, just be like good students. Don't skip their labs.
Don't leave the lab in the middle and slam the door. Don't do that.
That'll get you.
I don't know who did that.
And then, so don't skip their labs, and like they'll be fair.
I think you actually learn a lot in the lab.
No, you know,
like,
that's
they're
what you
very
actually learn.
good.
Yeah.
That is, it's very practical.
You hold down the tutors and hog them so that no one else can use them,
Yep.
and then you ask them 400 questions.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Jackie.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Rest in peace.
That's how I passed.
Okay. Yeah. What else is there for a month? I don't know.
Just like exam period, Christmas break.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you gotta just. I found for me at least, like in mod 1, I got into the groove of just studying every day, and then continued that throughout my Christmas break. And then everyone's like, "Oh my god, that sucks so much! Like you're studying over Christmas break, like it's like your life sucks." I'm like, it's not.
You have a lot of time to dick around.
Yeah, it's not that.
I mean,
bad.
you have a lot of time to fool around and like do other things and hobbies.
It's not that bad. I don't know. You get used to it.
I tried a
Pretty
different
bad.
strategy of procrastinating until the last 3 days and then pounding it all out.
No, but Dane's still
That was
here,
also
so
really fun.
Dane's
I'm
still here.
Yeah.
So that means it works.
Find us
What,
out.
studying the last day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that's like. Both mods.
So you can take
That was
either
fun.
route.
Yo, actually,
And you'll be fine.
mod 2 anatomy. When I got into the exam, since we have 1 minute per question, I spent the first 30 seconds to try to learn the muscle that I'm looking at, and then the second 30 seconds, I answer the question.
Nice.
You got to learn during the exam. That's how I do it.
No.
They've never given us an unfair
question.
test or exam yet.
No.
have they?
No.
Everything's
No.
been very fair and very like what they've taught us. So if you
Yeah.
apply your knowledge, I don't know.
I
I don't know
I
if
feel
we've
like-
just gotten like smarter.
Well, no,
No.
I just feel like because there's so much volume in all the courses, they don't need to make the exams hard. They just need to make them fair, and like just to study everything is hard work.
There's a lot.
So like if you studied everything, then they're happy with that, and they'll give you a fair exam, and they don't have to like challenge you, right? And
And the thing is, like, there's a lot.
you know what I mean? Like they're not trying to make it like.
They're not out
extremely
to get
thought-provoking.
you.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, no, they're definitely not out there to snake you.
Yeah.
Unlike some places.
There's also a lot of crossover content from a lot of courses that kind of overlaps. So when you're kind of in a sense learning your anatomy, it synergizes really nicely with your radiology component of it, which actually works really nice because you have biomechanics that might be in that aspect as well.
Yeah.
So in a sense, you're kind of getting 3 separate courses all touching upon different aspects of one thing that you're looking at. So it's a nice way to completely get like a bigger picture, I would say. It's pretty
Yeah.
nice.
That's what I love about the program. That's my thing.
No,
Just because like it actually feels like a program, and like if like you're not caught up in like low back like lumbar stuff in like say anatomy, then radiology like professor won't do like low back stuff because you don't know the anatomy to it yet. So it feels like a like entirety of a program.
It's very cohesive.
They don't
Yes.
match up exactly, but like
Yeah.
it sort of comes in hand like what you're learning throughout the courses.
Like even orthopedic tests and all that. Like after we did it, like all the anatomy, low limb stuff, and X-ray, we would have like the ortho stuff all after. So that's pretty nice.
Okay. So we're gonna just take another quick break to take.
Yeah.
We're
should, like,
shortcutting.
Progress as if
Yeah.
like
I like that.
And we're back.
Yo, what the heck?
Hey.
Okay.
You're,
Son of a show.
All right, what's our topic again?
Okay. We're talking about extracurriculars. So, everyone comes from a pretty diverse place of hobbies, sports, activities, and interests. and some people might be worried, like, you know, they might not have enough time to keep on doing what they love, like, you know, whatever that is, whether it's like working out, playing a sport, doing art, doing nothing, like, doesn't matter. Okay, we just had to cut something out. Just something happened that we can't have on the podcast.
So what was that there?
What were we saying? Oh yeah, so it will go around in a circle, and if anyone has any experiences with trying to juggle out of school life with school and how that was, maybe starting with
Derek Liu.
Okay. Derek Liu. Derek Liu is some summary about him. He's a 4-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Okay, like seriously talking though, like Derek Liu comes from a very, like, do you mind if I say, like, he comes from a very, like, not professional, but he's a very accomplished athlete. He spends a lot, no, he's just being modest. He spends a lot of time in the gym. He came second in Canada for his weight class for powerlifting in juniors, and like, he's just like one of the most phenomenal athletes I've ever met. So I think you should, like, no, like, seriously. So
yeah. No joke. The WWE thing might have been a joke, but no joke.
So please give us some insight, Derek.
Yeah. Now I actually got to be serious about my topic. I don't know. For me, I had a competition in October, and like the school year just started in like late August. So for me, it wasn't too bad because the school has a gym, but I hate the gym because.
Why do you hate the gym?
Many reasons.
Okay. By his standards.
Equipment.
Okay.
For like powerlifting specifically, it's just like commercial gym bars, and it's very small and tiny, and like a third of the room is like full of treadmills. It's like, okay, but also it's next to the radiology lab, which is, I don't know why that happens, because people complain about making loud noises, dropping weight when it's right next to the lab. I don't know why they build it like that, but anyways, yeah, I made it happen. It wasn't too hard. Like, you just gotta work with what you got. For me, I also like trained at a specific powerlifting gym, so I went there on Fridays and Saturdays, and then just trained like 2 times a week here. It depended on like what I would do. Shout out to Fortis Fitness. Anyways, what was the question? Or how to balance it?
How do you balance it?
Yeah, how'd you find it?
Oh, yeah. Usually the training is about like 3 hours on average.
Per day? Or per time?
Yeah, like whenever I train, it's like 3 hours. And like I usually don't like to skip lectures because that's how I like to learn. But sometimes you just gotta sacrifice to win. So you gotta, like, how do you say it? Kind of gauge what lectures you think you want to go to, and like and those that you don't think you have to go to, because there's also like Panapo where you can just listen to the recording. I don't know.
Do you find that like around exam time, your workouts start to, like, you don't work out as often?
I do. It's just that my workouts suffer. So like, because powerlifting is very objective, and like, you kind of train based off numbers. And if there's like a lot of stress, even like outside of your life, it's gonna affect your training in terms of, you know, how well the weight's gonna move and everything. And then usually if I have a bad training session, I'll be like in a bad mood too. And then, you know, it's going to transpire into the rest of the day, bad studying, etc. But I don't know. My competition didn't go too well, so I can't even give any advice.
Derek Soul combined with powerlifting and lifting in general, weightlifting.
Yeah, I don't know. You can make it work. There's some. Isn't there like a CrossFit Games athlete here?
Yeah.
I don't know how he makes it work, because he like has to fly to like, he's in Germany or something. He's doing like CrossFit Open right now. So
that's basically alchemy.
Oh, what the heck? I just saw his Instagram. It's like, yeah, he was before, but
You'll find time to juggle like between what you want to do and studying, obviously, because, well, at this point, both are big investments in big parts of your life. So you'll make it work somehow.
I feel like the only thing you sacrifice a little bit is like social life outside of like the people at school, because you can line up your schedule with people here, because most people have the same schedule as you. But I found it's pretty hard to hang out with a lot of people that I met and like knew from undergrad or before, because they might have like, if they're doing like let's say like they're doing another year at undergrad, or like they're doing something else, or they're in the workforce, their schedules are like usually pretty set. Like they know they're going to be busy every Monday from like whatever to whatever. But since our schedules change like week to week often, like, well, almost every week or every day,
week to week, yeah.
And like sometimes it's like crazy busy and sometimes it's pretty chill. It's hard to kind of time like your freedom with people outside of the school. That's the only thing I felt was like a little different. I don't know if people agree.
Yeah, I found the same thing. Like, it's because our schedule is so variable, it makes it hard to. I like consistency. So like this schedule, it makes it a bit difficult for me just to plan what I want to do at certain times, and it's not consistent either. So, but again, like you make it work.
Hey Richard,
What?
how do you find your extracurriculars in terms of you're involved in research right now, as well as some like dragon boat type of stuff, and working out at school? Holy Angelina Jolie!
Yo man, every
Tell
time
me
I see
about it.
every time I see Richard's biceps, I go, oh yo! And I get all
You
pumped up.
you just destroyed the mic, man. Okay. No, I don't know.
I think
Sorry. What were you gonna say?
I don't want to throw anyone else under the bus, but I think out of all of us, you're the most involved. I would say you have
I
the
don't know.
most extracurriculars going at the same time.
I don't know.
It seems like.
I don't know. I don't know about that. Yeah. So there's.
Yo, this is an extracurricular right now.
Yeah, it's true.
There you go.
There's dragon boating. There's that. Like research, volunteering, working. I don't know. Like I'm not.
What the heck, you work too?
I'm not gonna list off my thing like my credentials or whatever. But it's like I think you definitely choose what you want to do. Like a philosophy I like to live by is you'll always have time for something. It's whether you choose to make time for it or not is what you do. So I don't make time to go to class. So I listen to Panopto a lot, and it's on 2x speed, which is very helpful because it's half the time. I really think, yeah, it's just you choose what you want to invest your time into. And I haven't failed any of my courses yet, and I don't think I'm gonna fail Mod 3, but maybe I will. But knock on wood.
See you in the class of 2022.
Yeah, also I'll be in your guys' class.
You'll actually see Richard next year.
Featuring me, I'll be this angry guy in the back, just wearing this hoodie. No, yeah, I don't know. It's really just like it's what you want to make time for, right? And I think everyone has the time for something. You just choose what you want to make time for. That's it.
Well said.
Does anyone have any other activities that they're juggling with school? I know Dave Tam is a avid badminton player. He also lifts. His biceps are also gigantic.
Not as big as Isaac Kim's.
Man, mine are so small. Like they fit inside. You know, like the toilet paper rolls.
That's
charming.
That's called like bone. Like that's like your bone density issue. Yo. Fuck, yo. You gotta get a fucking CAT scan. It's a friggin' CAT scan.
I got bone density.
Yo, damn, you need calcium, bro. Go outside more.
But I don't know. I think I always see like Dave's Snapchat stories always doing something interesting.
Yo, I got you on Snapchat. What the heck?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I can talk about myself. So I'm part of a recreational league, and I played badminton like all throughout my high school career. I've always participated in tournaments throughout university. I kind of beat down a little bit. Now I just play with a bunch of teammates for like a recreational league, and we're just playing it throughout the year. So we have practices about like once a week, and we have games like every other week or so. So for me, I try my best to I guess organize my work schedule and also like my study schedule around those practice times and also those game times. Sometimes there are weekends where we have double headers and double games, so it would be about 4 hours on a Sunday where we're basically playing back-to-back matches. So I need to accommodate my schedule to those games. And sometimes there would be like social outings with my team just for team bonding and all that. And same thing, you have to implement that into your schedule. And as Richard was saying, it's basically you have to make time for these type of events, right? It's like, okay, maybe what I'm going to do is you have to plan in advance. You know this 1 week is going to be very hectic, so maybe try to do as much work as you can the week before or coming up to that week. So it's just more so just planning and trying to organize your schedule a little bit better, I would say.
Absolutely. I think something that you hit on there, Dave, is just making sure that you're not always focusing on school. You need to have some time for yourself to let loose and just relax. You just need to be able to have that time. Like I know that for me, sometimes I'll use my driving time as that time for me to relax and let loose. Just, listen to some good music and just not think about school.
Cry.
Yeah, because I know for me in first mod, I actually started to burn out near the end of the mod. I was sitting right at the front of the class the whole time, making sure I was paying attention to literally everything that came out of the cross mouth, and that really got to me after the end of the first mod just because of how much volume there is in there.
Now Ryan sits like in the middle.
And now
back
Ryan sits
with
beside
us.
me in the
back
back
with class, a way back corner.
No, Ryan's sitting with us now.
No, he's both. No.
Sometimes. He makes a
Sometimes.
guest appearance.
There you go.
featuring.
Unlike some people. Dave Tam
Oh yeah.
never sits with us.
Same thing with Ryan. What happens is that I felt that I couldn't learn that well in the middle, so I kind of just I found that I was able to focus a lot better near the back where I was just sitting more so myself. So
The funny thing is, there's no seating arrangement for anything, but there basically is now. Like,
I think that's how it works everywhere. Yeah.
Same thing in undergrad.
People
no,
get used to where you sit.
maybe it's because like the lecture was gigantic at U of T. Like I just sat like random places.
We always had our own spot in undergrad.
Definitely for the smaller classes, it just sort of became established who sat where.
Because I remember a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
one of our friends sat at a different row than normal.
He's like this guy. So everyone has their established place, right? And he sat one row differently. The whole fucking the whole friggin' ecosystem just blew up, man. Like everything just fell apart.
I wasn't there, but I heard like people were
Time
actually
started
angry.
going
Like people were
backwards.
like, no one knew like where to sit exactly, and like it took days to recover. Like I remember I came the next day to class, and like people were still sitting in like weird spots, and like people who sat like way at the back like randomly sat beside me, and everyone was just confused.
someone was in fetal position. No.
Do you guys have any advice in terms of actual work, like making money at the same time as school? I moved here from Ottawa, so I didn't have a job. I still don't. I'm considering it, but for now I don't, and I'm just living off.
It depends on your priorities, because I don't feel like you can like realistically work more than like 20 hours a week. What is that?
What's
Not
up, CMCC?
Not again. Like I thought about getting a job at the start, but what I did was like I'm gonna do mod 1 without a job and see like how busy it is, like while doing like stuff I want to do, and like I don't know. It depends like how like what kind of person you are. Like me personally, like I want to work in the summer, but like during school, like just because you can skip classes, like or like you can put stuff off for school, but like for work, like you can't just like say like you're too busy that day and not show up, because that like there's like a lot more consequences for that, and it's a lot less flexible. So like if you misjudge a week and you think it's not that bad, and you get scheduled for like I don't know 24 hours that week, but you realize like, oh shoot, like you fell behind in some stuff and you actually need that time to study, but now you can't. I mean, I don't know. It depends on the person, I feel.
I'd like to hear from Nick Chow, because he works like a part-time job while
Well,
at school.
Nick Chow's.
I'm actually like my schedule is very flexible for work.
But
'cause,
you go like this kid goes to like every single club meeting. Like he might not like he's also involved in a lot of.
But
different
Nick Chow's mastered like the sleep of the ascended. So I don't think Nick Chow actually sleeps at night. In the day he recharges by using osmosis. So in class like 1 minute into the class you'll see him asleep. And
that was once. Come on.
He'll wake up at the end of class, and then he's still here. That means he's basically absorbed all the information while asleep in class, and then that way he has the energy to go to all the clubs. That's some next level stuff.
But like how is working with your job, or how many hours do you work a week?
I don't even work that much. Like I just work Saturdays right now.
Okay.
I'm pretty tight with like I've been doing Taekwondo, like everyone knows. And my master just like gave me a job.
And now Nick Chow's the master.
So yeah, I'm pretty close with him, and I just have like I can go in whenever basically.
So he's pretty flexible with your work hours and stuff.
Yeah.
Flexible.
You know what's also flexible? Nick Chow.
Nick Chow is flexible.
I think he's the only one out of us who can do like the full splits like on command.
I think he's the only guy in our class that can do full splits.
No,
I think Scott
can.
Scott.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple.
He's a
people who can.
gymnast.
Yeah, but you try that on me, and like my abductors are gonna rip. And
Your Magnus just like rips into 4 parts.
but anyways, I think we're running out of time now. So if anyone has any closing remarks that they would like to tell our listeners.
One last time, guys, congratulations on finishing those interviews
for the class of 2022.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a big thing to take away is like a lot of people kind of scare you in the beginning, especially during orientation week. A lot of teachers are like,
Yeah, they do.
don't you're gonna only sleep 4 to 5 hours a night. Like,
No.
it's not the case. Like, it's just life. You're like, it's the same. Nothing's gonna get too much harder. You're gonna get better. That's all
That's
it is.
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
You don't. Oh, never stop believing in what you love. Life is a journey.
Okay, you're pretty much whispering.
Okay, well, thanks again for listening to episode 2 of the Crackstreet Boys. We took a bit of a couple-week hiatus, and we had pretty good reception after the first episode. So hopefully, we'll probably be back not for a while because we have exams and then it's March break. So
We can do next one.
oh yeah, true. Yeah, well, actually no, we'll be back next week. Just kidding.
My cup loaded in the fist, I swing, I don't miss shot, I missed out with 8 inches locked up in